Today, in these times of corona, I feel I should give some advice to patients who are suffering from heart conditions. So there are some do's, some don'ts, some precautions to be taken, and also what should you do if you develop corona infection. So these are the points which I will be discussing with you. After the talk, I will be happy to answer some of your queries if you have. I had prepared a PPT, but I'm not able to sync it with the Facebook Live, so I'll cover those points in my lecture. First of all, what is corona disease? Now we all know corona is an infection, or it's a virus which affects the respiratory tract. What happens is these patients develop something like pneumonia or lung damage. Not all of them, only some of them. We all know there are various types of coronaviruses. There was a virus which was called SARS, which affected mostly in Southeast Asia. And there was also a virus which was called MERS, MERS, which affected the Middle Eastern countries. These also were equally infective. However, the number of countries affected was very less. This present virus, which is the coronavirus, also called COVID-19, was first detected in late December 2019 and now has almost spread to 200 countries, has affected almost 1.5 lakh patients. We know that this is an infectious disease, can spread easily. However, the good news is that majority of these patients do get cured. So it is nothing to worry about even if you contract a corona infection. First of all, what are the symptoms of the disease? How does the patient come to know that you have a corona infection? The commonest symptom which one gets is fever. Second is cough, which are the commonest symptoms, fever and cough. Some of these patients may also have shortness of breath or loss of smell. Some of them might have gastric symptoms. So how good or bad is the disease? If you see, out of 100 patients, 80% of these patients will have very mild illness. They will have mild fever, maybe some cough for 5 to 7 days, maybe some lethargy, fatigue, weakness, which will last, body ache, which will last for 5 to 7 days or maybe 10 days. So in 80% of the patients, this illness is very mild. In the remaining 20%, these are the patients who may develop severe illness in the form of respiratory distress, where they become breathless, and out of that, maybe 5% may need a ventilatory support. Now, what is the presence of kidney problems, lung problems, or blood pressure going very low, which causes lot of risk to the patient? Hardly 3 to 4%. And what is the risk of dying? 2 to 3%. Now this is very less compared to the earlier attacks of SARS and MERS. SARS and MERS have a mortality rate almost 20 to 35%, which is much higher. So here the mortality rate is definitely lower. However, the infection, the presence of getting it, or the chance of getting it is much more. So remember that though it is infectious, 95 to 98% of these patients do get cured. So there is nothing to worry about. Now if you are a cardiac patient, now we come to a discussion particularly pertaining to cardiac patients. So if you are a cardiac patient, are you at increased risk than a normal patient? Actually no, you are not at all at increased risk. However, if you develop the disease, if you contract the disease, the chance of you getting very sick are higher than a patient who doesn't have a cardiac problem. So a cardiac patient is much more likely to get more sick compared to a normal patient. Now who are these patients who are more likely or chance of getting very sick? One is the age of more than 60 to 65 years, patients who have heart disease, patients who have lung disease, patients who have diabetes, blood pressure, and patients who are immunocompromised in the form of cancer or who are taking drugs like steroids which can reduce your immunity. So these are the subgroup of patients who can get very sick if they contract this infection. So what are the ways by which these patients, or any patient for that matter, can protect themselves from the outbreak of COVID in them? Okay. Now there are some ways to stay healthy. Most of the things we are aware of those ways, okay, but I will still recapitulate on some of these things. The number one is you have to defend against this infection. Okay, so first step is defend yourself against this infection. We all know that it spreads from person to person, so all individuals should maintain a distance of at least 6 feet from one another. That is number one. If you know a person who is sick in your locality, in your family, in your neighborhood, try to stay away from that person. Wash hands regularly with soap and water at least for 20 seconds. Cover your mouth. Now, as we all know, masks have been made compulsory all over the country. So cover your mouth, especially when you cough, especially when you sneeze. If you don't have a mask, sneeze or cough inside of your elbow so that the droplets don't get carried forward. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth. So this is one of the most important things to do. Avoid touching your mouth. If you see, in a minute, in an hour, a person tends to touch his face, mouth and nose almost 200 times. So this is to be avoided. Okay, we are habituated to it, but now because of this COVID, I think we have to change our habit. Clean surfaces like doorknobs, handles, steering wheels, light switches with a disinfectant, because we know these are called fomites. These are surfaces by which the viruses can spread. So that is the first step. Defend yourself against infection. Social distancing is one of the main prerequisites for not getting the infection. Second step is cardiac patients ideally should be vaccinated. Now, corona infection, there is no current vaccine which is available. However, we all know cardiac patients have more likely to develop infections like influenza and pneumonia. So we have vaccines which are available against influenza, against pneumonia. So all patients who are immunocompromised, diabetics, cardiac disease should have an influenza vaccine or a flu vaccine every year. A flu vaccine is supposed to be every year. Influenza is approximately every 5 years. So these vaccines have to be taken by all these patients. This will protect them at least from influenza and pneumonias. Number 3 is ask your hospital about remote visits and virtual visits. We all know most of these hospitals have shut down their OPDs or outpatient departments. Most of the doctors have stopped their consultations and private clinics. So there are a lot of patients who require follow-up, who require advice about their medications, about their conditions, about the symptoms. So what do these patients do? They should call up the doctor, ask him whether he can get a virtual or a remote consultation, if not in-person consultation. Most of these hospitals, especially the private ones, are already establishing their virtual visits. This was not in place for a long time because in India we never had the system of virtual consultation, but gradually all these hospitals are one by one introducing this, and in the near future you will see almost every private hospital providing the service of virtual consultation. So I think most of the sick patients, elderly patients, heart patients who can't travel, who don't want to take a risk, should take use of this opportunity and consult the doctors. Number 4 is keep up your healthy habits. So there are a lot of healthy habits. You are homebound for almost 3 weeks now and another 3 weeks to go. Okay, so how do you remain healthy at home, especially for heart patients? Like number 1, eat well, eat healthy. Just because you are at home, don't go towards the fridge and take or grab a bite every time you feel as if there's nothing to do. Okay, so eat healthy, eat lot of salads, eat fresh food. Okay, avoid sugar, drink plenty of water, exercise regularly. Now, because you are homebound doesn't mean that you can't exercise. There are a lot of exercises which you can do. One can do yoga for relaxation. One can do Surya Namaskars to do some form of aerobic activity. One can walk at one spot, walk at a spot, or run at a spot. One can do a treadmill if he has a treadmill, then do a bicycling if he has a bicycle, stationary bike at home. So there are a lot of exercise which a patient or any individual for that matter can carry at his house. Get enough sleep. Sleep at least 7 to 8 hours, so that this also reduces your stress, gives your body adequate rest to recover and recuperate. Manage stress. Sitting at home whole day doing nothing without any social contacts causes a lot of anxiety. So manage the stress. How should you manage the stress? Do some house chores, wash your utensils, dust your home, play with your kids, play board games with your kids, do some activity with them, okay, do a drawing, paint, okay, do a musical instrument, learn a musical instrument, learn to sing, do virtual conferencing with your colleagues, with your neighbors, with your relatives. There are a lot of apps by which you can get in contact with them. So you can do a lot of recreational activities which you have done, not which when you are restricted at home. Okay, do virtual socializing. However, remember, avoid negative messaging, because there are lots of messages which are negative on the WhatsApp, which are like more of alarming messages which have no authenticity. Try to relax by doing some breathing exercises, and lastly, take regular medicines. So if you do all these things, I think most of the patients will be really happy. There is a website called, or if you go on a YouTube, there is a lady by the name of Leslie Sansone, Leslie, Leslie Sansone, Sansone. She has a program called Walk at Home. So I would recommend this to be done by all our patients, walk at home. This is easy to be done and can be done extremely easily. You just have to walk at home, you have to follow her. So it's do, and you do it at home. What if you develop the symptoms of coronavirus? First of all, do not panic, relax, okay? There's nothing worrisome. The mortality rate is very negligible, okay? Hardly 2%. 98% of the patients are going to get out of this. So do not panic, relax, wear a mask, take a paracetamol if you are having a lot of fever, isolate yourself, quarantine yourself, maintain utmost care at home so that you don't touch any object which can transmit the infection. Take precautions, and if you get breathless, contact a hospital or contact a doctor. So if there are any questions for cardiac patients in particular, I would be happy to answer them via this chat. One thing which we are observing is that a lot of cardiac patients are on medications, so it is strongly recommended that you stop on your medications at least 2 or 3 weeks advanced, so that you don't miss out on your doses. Regarding COVID infection, I feel that it will be here for the long haul, so there will be a lot of social restrictions in place even after the infection or even after the lockdown is lifted up, and because of this we will have to maintain some amount of social distancing even when the lockdown is lifted up. Infections will definitely reduce in number, but however it will continue to be there in our society, in our hospitals for at least 6 months to 1 year, and that's why continuous process of isolating these patients, quarantining them and treating them will need to be put in place. There's one question here: can the cardiac patient walk outside to purchase essential goods if nobody is there in the house? Actually, this is a very relevant question. There are a lot of patients who are living alone by themselves. There are a lot of elderly parents who live by themselves. So of course they will have to go out and purchase some essential items like medicines and food for themselves. If they have a neighbor who can help them out, that is the best option. If you don't have a neighbor, of course they can go out and shop by themselves or buy these medicines by themselves. However, wear a mask, maintain at least 1 to 2 meters of distance when you go out so that you don't contract this infection. Now we have a lot of online groceries and online medical stores which deliver at your home. So if you are used to ordering them online, please do so. So there is no contraindication to going out, but however, one should be careful that you don't get this infection because you are roaming out. So maintain a good amount of social distancing when you go out. Currently, regarding medications, there is no proven medication for coronavirus as such. Till now, there are a lot of medicines which have been doing the rounds in medical journals. In some patients, they have been found useful. However, this is all very initial or preliminary data. One will have to wait for some time to know which medicine acts in the long run and with lot of certainty. Now, another question: since now regular checkups cannot be done, most of the clinics closed, is it safe to visit hospitals for checkup? Are any hospitals currently providing such service facilities? Currently, to my knowledge, lot of hospitals have shut down their regular OPDs and regular clinics. What they are looking after is doing emergency services. These also are done only for emergencies after ruling out that you don't have a COVID infection. This is done because in the last few days, as you said, as you must have read in the newspapers, lot of reports of doctors, nurses getting infected and hospitals had to shut down because the presentation of a COVID patient is slightly different. Lot of time in the initial stage of the disease, these patients may not have any illness, and these hospitals have treated these patients without being aware that they had COVID infection, and that's why these patients have transmitted this infection to their doctors. So because of that, all these hospitals are now putting in place a system by which they can rule out a COVID infection in all these patients who come or report to the hospital. So they will either be asked to do an antibody test, which might be available in the near future, or they might be asked to do a nasal swab and get a COVID negative report. After the COVID negative report is obtained, most of the hospitals will entertain you to be treated. I think that will become the norm in the near future, at least for 3 to 6 months down the line. However, for emergencies, I don't think any hospital is refusing. You can go to any of those hospitals. As much as I am aware, Hinduja Hospital, Nanavati Hospital, Kokilaben Hospital, Reliance Hospital, Fortis Hospital Mulund are functioning and treating patients in any sort of emergencies. There's another question. I had a GPS around 6 years back. Frequent cold infections which last 3 to 4 weeks attacks my training. Couple of years I tried to take influenza vaccine but not allowed. So I take a safety. How much risk health puts me against impact of COVID? My family remains tentative. I think you don't have an increased risk at all. You are as much at a risk as we or any other individual. So the risk is the same for all individuals. More the exposure, when you go to a crowded area, the risk is going to be more, especially because the chance of getting COVID from those, say, populated areas is much more than a place which is having maintaining social distancing. So there is no increased risk because of a previous illness which you might have suffered or one might have suffered. Of course, it will impact your training for marathons. There are people who have trained inside the house for marathons, so one may have to just train inside the house for marathons. Frequent cold and cough, again, ours is a tropical country, we have a very high incidence of cold and cough, so it is very likely that any of us will get an attack or two of cold or cough in a year. However, getting corona is definitely a different ball game. So as I mentioned in my lecture earlier, all patients will have to take precautions so that they don't get the infection. I thank Mumbai marathon runners and Ram in particular for arranging this lecture. Thanks a lot.